Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
I do think that the engagement strategy that God is, and we're going live right now, just so you know, on Facebook, that God's given me is going to, it just keeps coming, like little nuggets, like I was talking about with the birthdays and anniversaries. The engagement rate on that is almost 100%. They engage me back, they comment back, or it triggers to where they will go, and then they'll like all the like page requests or things like that I sent them.
All right, hang on a second.
Yeah.
This is one of the topics that I'm most interested in my whole life. Top 50 things. Seriously.
Okay.
So I want to make sure I understand this.
Okay.
So can you, because I was listening, but I was also getting set up here.
Oh no.
Can you tell me what you just said?
Yes, I will tell you what I just said. So I'm working on an engagement strategy.
For your nonprofit or for your business?
For both. But since the nonprofit is, according to my business, I treat it like it's a client, so it gets treated the same way. So,
okay, cool.
But I'm working on an engagement strategy to where businesses increase their engagement organically, and it's simply by just doing simple things. And so one of the new strategies that I've been implementing for the past couple of weeks is, I feel like God gave me a authentic, genuine, repeatable phrase that I can send out. And so I send that out on birthdays. And the engagement.
Yes. So what you mean by this is that so I just need to know.
Yeah.
And I know this could be used in your nonprofit and in your business.
Oh yeah.
For sure. But initially, what have you done? Business or nonprofit?
Oh, business.
Okay, cool.
So because it goes through the personal brand. So again, our conversation always goes back to business and personal have to be elevated together.
Cool. I'm down.
And so so what happens is I'm sending, the business side of things is sending requests, asking for follows, sharing insights, all these types of things. That's coming from the business side, right? Well, the business side doesn't get the personal touch. It doesn't get the reminders about anniversaries or, hey, congratulations on a new job or a birthday or whatever. That business doesn't get it. The personal side gets it. And so almost what happens is that social media, beknownst to most people, is telling you need to do both. Most people, and I think you admitted truly last week, that you turn off these notifications, the personal notifications of other people. Whereas
I don't get birthday notifications on LinkedIn anymore. If I ever log into Facebook, I would, which I am doing right now, only so I can watch our live.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're live right now.
I'm logging in right now.
We're excited to see you over in Germany. We're excited to see you over in Spain and Australia and South Africa. I saw you earlier this week. Thank you for checking us out. We hope you guys find some wisdom and insight, and we'd love to engage with you.
Or at least learn from our mistakes.
Yes, please do. Don't make the same ones. Happy to share all my mistakes, as long as you're learning. If you're not learning, then I'm going to keep it to myself. So.
Very smart. So Beastmode, talk to us about your strategy, because you have been doing some micro experiments on LinkedIn.
Yes. Well, not just on LinkedIn, on all social media.
On all social? Okay.
Yes. LinkedIn, I do a little bit more in depth, just because you're able to kind of walk through those steps a little bit differently, but they apply to all platforms. So on LinkedIn, I start with, obviously you got to have the connection. So start with the connection, get a personal touch, and then they start walking through a sequence. And then what happens is once we get in, there's a sequence, there's a process that's going down where you're getting touches and likes and comments and genuine support, I would say, from me as a connection. I'm doing what, if we were friends, this is something that I would do. And so I'm just doing that in advance. And I'm not asking for anything. I'm not sending you anything. The only thing that I'm sending you is, insights with no pitch, with no nothing. Hey, here's just some insight on how to do social media. And it's short, real short.
All right,
I'm not sending.
Let's recap because Thomas might want to write this down, or somebody else might want to. So in order to accomplish the goal of doing business development, or in my case, job seeking, which is really very much business development oriented, really it's a cousin. You have a process you've been working on. I'm aware of this, but I didn't receive the update until today that more has happened. But the first thing is that you find a target person, let's just say. So you find somebody, right? So like you find Howie.
And that's a step in itself. So with let's just use LinkedIn for example. For LinkedIn example, you can get almost like search alerts where you can type in different criteria of individuals or backgrounds that you're looking for. And then I just get almost daily search alerts. Here's 10 candidates. Here's 50 candidates fit your profile. Well, wonderful. I don't have to go search. So it's automating that task. Yes, you can go and you can find, here's people that are similar to so-and-so. Yes, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Grow your network. So that's the first step. And then you start getting personal touches. Then what happens is, then it gets even more personal. So whenever the social networks alert me to anything that goes on, I'm sending a genuine comment response to those alerts. And by doing that, by not sending the canned responses, hey, congratulations, hey, happy anniversary, or whatever it is, by having a genuine response. And what happens is, if people don't know it's genuine and they go read my content, which is generally what happens, they get a response. Wow, that's thought-provoking. Wow, that's thoughtful. I need to go check out this guy's profile. They go check out my profile, they read my content. Okay, his comment matches what he says consistently, so it's authentic. It validates my comment. Then what happens is, let me go check. Has this guy sent me anything? Oh, he sent me a personal message. Oh, he sent me an invite to his nonprofit, to his business page. I'm going to like all those. And it happens so quick. And what happens is, now they're buying to me. Now they're going to follow me. Now they're going to see anytime I send something, now it's instant buy-in, right? And so now when I send an insight, now they're genuinely interested in the insight, and the conversation just goes a little quicker. And I didn't pay for anything, right? And you can do this on a mass scale. I do it in groups of 100, because 100 is manageable, and 100, let's just say people want to walk through the steps. Well, now I can manage that 100 through steps. Whereas if you try to do it to 1,000 people at the same time, it can be hard to manage. But thankfully, Howie, you set me up with HubSpot. HubSpot helps track all this. I can push everybody through their steps and timelines. And so it's so wonderful. And I'm just, number one, this idea, it has to be, in my opinion, a God thing, just because of the way, like, they're coming in like little, almost like he's leaving me little breadcrumbs. Okay, just keep.
I told you before, I feel this is a business by itself.
Oh, I think so too. Because when I share it with people like this, when I'm talking to people, hey, this is what I do. It overwhelms them with how much they want to do it, but they know they can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
Well,
I think there's a lot here. It excites me a lot because there's a personalization. So Gary Vee talks about scaling the unscalable. What Gary Vee means when he says scale the unscalable is doing the things that are very, very valuable, but are hard to do on a mass scale. So at Beastmode, what you're talking about is using social engagement to reach people, to help them genuinely, by the way, to develop relationships. That leads to business. But the thing about it is like, if you just did that randomly, it would be okay, but why not have a written process? So what Beastmode is doing, guys, is he's developing a written process, and I've been with him on this journey. It's been fun to watch. He's using a written process, and he's using some real simple tools to keep track of what he's done and what he's planning to do. And this is something that if you're building a personal brand or if you're building a business, having strategies for social media that are methodical, that are repeatable, that is seriously, that's rock solid gold.
And I'll tell everybody where this came from, where like the gut came from is I hated with a passion working for other people in the past, other businesses, and having no clear direction on who my client was. And it was just like, well, there's 40 million people on LinkedIn. Go find the person to buy our product. Go find them. And it was like, okay, well, why am I looking for a needle in a haystack? Why can't we decipher down who's my client? And now I can have quality conversations and engage strongly right here, as opposed to just this, it seems like just a willy-nilly approach. And for those listening overseas, that phrase may not make sense, but it's just very, throw something against the wall and hope it sticks. And it's that mentality just doesn't fit my mindset. It's very frustrating to me. And so for me, this is the way I do it. This is how, and even if you're not my client, it's a great way for you to be a supporter, to be a vision carrier, and to be a lead generator for me. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of those three things. If you're not going to be a direct client, then man.
I think there's two parts to it too. I think part of it is there's what I call air cover, which is basically non-specific but value-added messaging on the platform. And then there's so that's what I do 2 or 3 times a day right now. And that gets your brand out there, it gets your awareness out there. And then what you're doing is you're taking and you're saying, okay, I've provided air cover by providing value to the community, and now I'm going to reach out to Susan directly, because Susan is my target market. But I don't want to be, pushy to Susan. I want to offer value, and if she's in the market for what I do, then that's great. I want to meet Susan where she's at. But if not, then we'll have a relationship, and she'll know I was not pushy. I feel like you have one chance on social media to define yourself. And if your first thing that you do is you ask for something, you kind of burn that bridge. But if Susan is let's say, Beastmode, if Susan is in your target market and you run her through this process, it's not any less personal, the fact that you have a written process for how to engage. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's all about her and it's all about context. And I love it. I think what you're doing is powerful. It speaks to me because I've seen the abuse of social media. I've seen the abuse of marketers or salespeople who think social media is all about them. Guess what? It's not. It's about your audience. It's about your connections. It's about what they need. If you put their need first, it will come back to you, but you have to lead with them. So Beastmode, I love what you're doing. You're operationalizing goodwill.
Oh man, that's a great phrase. I love that, Howie.
Well, thanks.
Say it again.
Yeah, you're operationalizing goodwill.
Yes. And I'm not like, and you should know this more than anybody, but I'm not like a toot my horn guy, but doesn't that sound like me? Like, I just want to do the right thing for you. And
I absolutely agree that it's funny because it comes out of your body. And that's what I say to people. That's a little bit unusual. It's just my phrase and I'm weird. But what I like to say is that, when something happens naturally out of someone's personality, I say that that's coming out of your body. And so what I see out of Beastmode, so I'm his friend, so I have a little bit more of an insight. Although it's not like we have dinner every week. It's more like this and some ministry. Yeah, we should, or at least ever.
Yes.
I'll have you over for dinner. I'll have you and Hunter over because I really want him to play with my Star Wars droid. It's awesome.
Yes. Okay.
I really do.
We'll do that.
For real.
We're doing that this week.
Okay, let's do it. Actually, I do want to invite you to pizza dinner on Friday, by the way. If the thing happens that I told you I thought might be happening.
Oh, yeah. We're there.
The celebration of that is actually a friends and family pizza at Boss's Pizza. So, I'm glad we talked about this actually. And you got to bring Hunter. and I'll bring
Yeah.
the Star Wars droid. Anyway, but yeah, what comes out of Beast Mode's body, and I can tell you this, is that he says things like, "We are for you," and he has all these taglines. And if
Yeah.
you think about it, actually, so you guys might know that Beast Mode and I occasionally dive over into slightly spiritual topics. We're not going to hammer you a lot, but we'll sprinkle a little bit of that stuff in. And what we learn is that in the Bible, that the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart.
Yeah.
This really is stuff that's coming from Beast Mode's heart. He
Oh,
really is for you. And so yeah,
yeah.
operationalizing goodwill is just kind of like a little catchphrase that's kind of like what he's already doing on the 24/7.
Yeah. I'm stealing that, by the way.
Awesome.
Operational and goodwill.
Good. It's the tagline for your sub company.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it, man.
Guys, listen. So Thomas, you're back on. So we had an experiment a few months ago. Beastboy didn't give me the update until just now, actually. But we had a little experiment where he ran people a sample of 100 through this process that we just talked about, through this social media touch. And by the way, there actually is some non-social media aspects to this. At least in the first round I don't know if you're still doing that, but there was eventually a phone call. There was also eventually an email. It wasn't just social platform. It was an on and off platform at the time, at least. Yeah.
Yep.
And his
that all still goes on. Yeah. That all still goes on.
Okay. Still does. Okay. If you get this down, let me just tell you something. You get this down, you keep track of it, and you show me data, I will personally open some doors for you. I'm just waiting for a little more data before I will personally do that. But I'm interested and I believe in it because I believe in goodwill a lot. I believe in loving your neighbor. How do I pull the
data for this?
We have to look at your HubSpot reports. I'm not really sure, and we might even have to write reports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of it is. Like social media tracks your overall engagement, but I don't think they track it per individual. Not to my knowledge, at least.
What we have to do is we have to figure out on a sales and marketing campaign like this, right now you're at the experimental level. So you need to give yourself grace if you don't have reports right now. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because if it truly is repeatable, which is your theory right now, and it's actually mine too, by the way, if it truly is repeatable, we can set up the reports. We can figure out whatever we need in HubSpot, or if it has to be Excel, really don't want it to be. But if it has to be, then we can set up the parameters. So if your team is not logging X, Y, and Z, but we need X, Y, and Z logged for a report later on, or we can't prove to businesses that this thing works.
Yeah.
That we need to just make sure that we teach your team to report on X, Y, and Z, so that in a month I can show an ROI, right? But if you can open doors at this rate for businesses, I actually don't know where this ends. I don't know what the limit of this is. And
I don't think that they're. Oh, go ahead, Howie.
No, I'm not saying anything of value. I'm just excited. Go ahead.
No, I'm excited too. It's not like the steps ever stop. The create and the difference is just being in creative engagement. Great.
Can we talk about that for a second, actually?
Yeah.
The tribe thing?
Yeah.
So during the job search, I have learned, so I've been in sales for over 20 years. So I understand a lot about finding a target audience and going after it and developing it. But on the job search, it's a multi-month job search with an awful lot of activity and a lot of conversations. And I started using this phrase for myself that I have to find my tribe. And what Beast Mode is talking about is that there is a tribe for your business. There's a tribe for your brand, and don't be upset because some people said no. You know why? Because they aren't your tribe, but it doesn't mean they're bad. You can be an ally. Yeah.
Yes. Can you guys receive that today? Like seriously, because I know it used to bug me. You're like, man, this would be perfect for you. This would be perfect for you, Mr. Whoever I'm trying to sell, client, and they just don't bite. And okay, well, they're not your customer. Okay, there's somebody who is. For me, I used to hate selling to somebody who wasn't my customer. That was another thing that drove me out of corporate business. I don't want to sell to somebody who's not my customer, but because I'm good at sales, I sell it to them.
Wow.
And because I need to hit quota, I sell it to them. And because I need provision to take care of my family, I sell it to them. I don't like doing that, and I refuse to do it now. You know,
So
I'm gonna
beautiful.
find who's in my tribe and who's my customer, and I'm gonna take care of you. You know, and I tell businesses this all the time. Your product and your service, you may think that it's marketable and everybody should use it, but if you really think that, then you're way off base. Okay, one of the best products out there is an iPhone. Well, guess what? What do they have? Like a 50% market share? You know, not everybody likes iPhones, and that's the way it goes. But if you're sitting here trying to market your iPhone to an Android user, you know, you're gonna miss.
Not the tribe. And the thing about it is that I think now I don't know if the ladies have this much baggage that men do. As men, though, I know we struggle a little bit more with tying our identity to our jobs or to
Yeah,
our businesses. So you might take it personally if someone tells you no,
yeah,
because I have until recently, and by having 150 people or whatever tell me no during the job search, I've learned that I have a brand and I have a tribe, and that
yeah.
it's really the grace of God that they're telling me no. In fact, I had someone misunderstand me about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I sent all this information and I did all this stuff, and they took me wrong. I sent so much that they kind of took me wrong as though I had it all figured out or whatever. And that's not what I was doing. I was just trying to give him work examples because he had asked for the work examples on the phone, actually. And then that actually ended the job opportunity. And so because he misunderstood me, he took me as a very I focused person when I was just providing the examples that he literally had asked for. And I guess he forgot. And so that killed the opportunity. But what's great, think about what he just did for me. By him saying no to me in that role, what happened is that I did not go and work for somebody who would have misunderstood me and would have taken me wrong and would have looked into my motives and said that I was I focused and that I was selfish or I was arrogant or whatever. I don't know. He didn't say that, but I mean, I kind of got this weird feeling in the way that we parted. And so think about what a gift that is. Just like Beastmode was saying a second ago, it used to really annoy him to have to sell to people who were not like-minded or who were not, part of his, you know, a good fit, basically. The permission of allowing no to help you is so amazing. No can help us actually as much as yes. I don't know if it's more. I don't want to get into yes is more, no is more, but no is actually a
Yeah,
powerful thing in our favor.
yeah. We've talked about that before. You remember that?
I don't.
The power. You don't remember that? We had a whole episode. The
Maybe the power
power
of
of such.
saying no. We need to do
The
it again.
power of
Yes.
saying no. No is
Good.
so powerful. That's why. That's why whenever I call somebody, I ask them, "Is now a bad time?" Instead of
Yeah.
saying, "Is now a good time?"
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, okay, yes, but I have 30 seconds. Whereas, no, I don't. Call me tomorrow. Well,
It's
wonderful.
good.
I'll call you tomorrow.
It's awesome.
That was powerful.
That's great.
We have a comment from Tomas. He said he's a big reader of the Bible. His favorite is
Oh, cool.
Exodus 22:21.
Okay.
And so he's dropping that in there. Also, I dropped
Thank you.
the verse. I actually pulled up the Passion Translation because I knew you'd enjoy it. It says, discover creative ways to encourage others and to motivate them towards acts of compassion, doing beautiful works as expressions of love.
Wow. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
So if I can live a life that does that, I think I'll be all right.
I remember people in my career like that. And guess what? I don't remember the ones that are in the middle. I remember a couple of the very bad, several of the really good ones, like you're talking about, and then I literally forget the middle. I don't even remember them. But you're right. I think I would remember you if you treated me that way and you said, you know what, we're not really a good fit, but here's a resource. I would absolutely remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just being honest. One of my favorite things to tell clients, especially now that I'm a business owner, is you're not a fit right now. I would love to work with you, but you're not a good candidate right now. And I don't think it's a good idea for you, not for me, because I can do my part, but I don't think you're capable of doing your part. So circle back 3 months, 6 months, or a year, whatever. I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. And man, that's a lot of confidence that person can understand. Man, that guy's doing right by me. He could have just taken my money, but he chose not to.
And if we unpack the reasons why we're getting no in business, and we try to learn from that, then it's a sharpening. The Bible also says that iron sharpens iron, but iron may not sharpen iron as good as it could if we're not interacting with it. The sharpening is the fact that they're touching. If I'm getting no and I can't hear no because I'm so wounded, and I'm not just saying this to guys, because there may be ladies who have been very disappointed at work or for sure. I've just, as a guy, I've seen how guys get so wrapped up into their work and into maybe their identity almost. But if we can not be that way, and if we can say no, Howie and Beastmode are telling me I've got to be able to hear no, and I want to learn from the no. What is no trying to tell me? Because it's not that you're worthless, but it may be that your messaging wasn't good. Ask for feedback. In fact, I'm doing a little, about this. We've talked about maybe doing this as part of the series. I'm doing a job seekers kind of content series. It's going to have 10 parts, it looks like right now, but one of them that I'm on is talking about the grid and the mentality of it. And you have to have a lot of no's to get to yes, it's part of the process. Or else you're going to, if you got every job that you applied for, so many people would be mismatched. The vetting of no is really important in the sorting to make sure people are generally slotted in pretty good fits for both sides of the situation. So, but I think you have to be willing to hear the no and also say, what can I learn from it? And I don't think I'm great at that, but I think it's something that's on my radar. How's that?
Yeah, well, a couple things. So a lot of what you said just reminded me of the stretching for growth. That if we've changed the purpose, we change the mindset. And so, I got to know, okay, so if I can change the purpose of the no, so the no, they didn't slam me, maybe they're telling me that they're not my client. So thank you for taking a headache from me. There's no bigger headache than selling to somebody who's not your client, because they're going to be pissed off. They're going to be an unhappy customer the entire time. And I mean, that's part of the filter. I don't want to deal with somebody who's not really my client. So change the purpose of it. Change the reason behind the no. But
it's good. It's good. But yeah, so back to the social. So, when you're developing these relationships, we kind of talked about there's 2 parts to it. There is the air cover aspect of general branding, general messaging that is value oriented, like gong.io does an amazing, we talked about them last week, I think, but they do an incredible job of providing humor and insights and ideas out of their expertise and out of just their fun personality. So they post on LinkedIn a lot. You guys should follow them actually. But then also their individual reps do things with personal branding as well. What Beastmode is doing is he's doing a hyper tailoring. We've talked about hyper tailoring before. He's doing social media hyper tailoring, and I haven't really heard of it before, ever. I certainly haven't heard of a blended discipline that has repeatability behind it in business development. That's not almost, because we're going to make it very scientifically trackable. But we even want to make sure that the approach is something where we can show numbers based on that. Because if you can show numbers, then it's actually it's a market.
But I will tell you, it has to be genuine.
Yep.
So please, please, please. I mean, again, I'm sharing exactly what I'm doing. So, but I am telling you that it's genuine. If it's not, it will not work. It won't work, because when that first fact check happens, they're gonna cancel themselves out, And so that's the hardest part whenever I'm walking somebody else through it, is you have to capture their essence of their business, and you have to have their why, and you have to have that individual's purpose. which is, again, I love that, but some people, you got to dig for that. And it's got to be what I like to say, it has to set the hook. And if you don't set the hook deep enough, it's just going to pop right out. You're muted.
Thank you. No, I love that. That's very powerful. And I want to work with you, probably not during the recording, but I want to work with you on the reporting aspect of it and be able to show, here's the steps, document the steps. And then we're getting this many responses at stage 3. We're getting this many responses at stage 7. Here's the messaging. There's all this science, and there are people that mentality that I just talked to you about is actually in this book right here, Sales Engagement, which is I don't think it's a very famous book, but it's by a famous company called Outreach, who really believes in operationalization, like you're talking about. But I don't see them doing very much with social and doing what you're doing. They're doing more like phone and email. Social's a little bit more of an afterthought. It's not this real relationship first approach that you're using to
Phone's intrusive.
Yeah.
Phone's intrusive. And a lot of companies have switched to doing text messaging. Talk about even more intrusive.
Yeah.
If you text me and I didn't give you my number, it's super intrusive and it's invasive.
Texting is okay once you've had the first conversation, but not until you have that initial handshake, because I don't know you.
Yeah. You slipped into my privacy, because now you can see maybe if I opened it, now you can see what's, what I'm saying? And there's a lot, and businesses just don't think about that. They're just trying to see, I need to get a reaction. I want a yes or no from you. How can I get a yes or no from you? Whenever that's not the answer, because it is because I don't matter if it's a no, because it may be a no right now, but why would I just want a no just to have an answer? Yeah.